Okay, I think we shall get started. Hello, I've got some year fives. Awesome. I think we'll get going. So I'm hoping that a few of you, well, most of you already know how to solve basic equations, but as a refresher, so just the core principles of algebra, and these are what I repeat time and time again with my own students. So firstly, you must do the same thing to both sides of the equation. So if I have 3x equals 18, if I divide this side by 3, I have to do it to the other side. Okay, so divide both sides by 3 to get my answer. So that's one of the first rules in algebra. You have to do the same thing to both sides. Secondly, to get rid of something, you do the opposite. Now, what I mean by that is if I have 3x plus 5 equals 21, for example, and I don't think that gives you a nice neat answer, but that's okay. So if I don't want to have the plus 5 here, because I want to try and get x on its own, then I'll do the opposite of plus 5, which is minus 5. So I'll do minus 5 to this side and minus 5 to the other side because of principle 1, where I do the same thing to both sides. So if I want to get rid of the plus 5, I'll do the opposite. If I want to get rid of the 3, I will do the opposite. And this is 3 times x when they're next to each other. So I'll do the opposite, which is divide by 3. So divide by 3, divide by 3. Okay, now lastly, what you need to keep in mind when you're solving equations is you start by getting rid of whatever is furthest away from the x. And that's on that side of the equals. So for example, I need to get rid of the 3 and I need to get rid of the 5 so that x can be on its own. But the 5 is further away from the x. So I'll get rid of the 5 first, and then I'll get rid of the 3. So I would do the opposite of plus 5, which is minus 5, and then I'd get rid of the 3. So if you have an equation that's a bit longer, let's say it was 2x over 3 minus 6 equals 10. I have no idea what the answer to that is, by the way. Then we would do the opposite of minus 6, because that's furthest away from the x. And then the 3 is a little further away because it's got that line there. So I'd get rid of the 3 next. And then finally, I'd get rid of the 2. So you're working closer and closer to the x so that you can get it on its own. If that seems a little bit abstract and confusing, don't worry. We will come back to those principles as we go on. Okay, let's start with our first question, which will hopefully unblur. There we go. So simultaneous equations 1. We'll come on to some harder simultaneous equations later. Hopefully we'll have time. But we're going to start with this type. So, Malusi and Vishnu's ages add up to 50. Malusi and Winifred's ages add up to 31. Vishnu and Winifred's ages add up to 47. How old is Winifred? I'm going to write equations that represent all of that information. So if you've just finished year 4 and you're going into year 5, then this might be a bit new to you, but it's something that you can definitely pick up today. So Malusi and Vishnu's ages add up to 50. So if I have M for Malusi, because I don't want to write the whole name, M for Malusi plus Vishnu equals 50. That just represents the information we've been given. Can anyone tell me what we would write for the next sentence? So Malusi and Winifred's ages add up to 31. And I do have a delay, which is a little tricky, but maybe you can send that in chat. So can you tell me what equation we would write to show Malusi and Winifred's ages add up to 31? I'm going to start writing the third equation on the board. While we wait, actually, I'm going to hide my board for a second so you can tell me in the chat without me spoiling it. Okay, great. I've seen, I know this will be your parents' name, but Sandhya, you've given me the equation there. Got an extra plus, but I think maybe that's a typo. Okay, so I shall reveal my board in a second. There you go. So we should have m plus w equals 31. And then it said Vishnu and Winifred's ages add up to 47. So we do Vishnu and Winifred's ages equal 47. So we've got 3 equations that show the information that was given to us. It says, how old is Winifred? Which is tricky. So there's a bit of a trick for these ones. What I'm going to get you to do is add up all 3 equations. So you'll add all the letters, and then that equals the sum of the numbers. Now, if we add all the letters, can anyone tell me what we get? I'm going to write down the answer on the board while I wait, because we have this delay. Okay, so if I add all of the letters, I will have 2m, I'll have 2 V's, and I'll have 2 W's. So altogether, I get this. Okay, so I have 2m plus 2v plus 2w equals 128. So someone sent me 128 there. Good. Don't forget the letters. So can you copy that down for me if you're following along at home? Good. Someone with the surname Parvin, well done. Yeah, good, lovely. I'm seeing those equations with a little delay, but you've got the answer right. Fabulous. Okay, so we know that two of each of their ages add up to 128. Now, can someone tell me then what all of their ages add up to? I don't want 2 of their ages. I only want 1 of their ages each. So I want to know. Hello, someone's just said good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay, so I want m plus v plus w, and that will equal 64. Okay, so each of their ages, if we add up each of their ages, we get 64. Now that's going to be very helpful. Good, Sabine, or child of Sabine. Good, it is indeed 64. So we can basically ignore that middle equation now. We don't need it. I'm going to cover it up so it doesn't confuse us. Now we can use this information and this information to figure out how old Winifred is. So here we have Malusi, Vishnu, and Winifred's ages. That makes 64. I know already that if I only add Malusi and Vishnu's ages, I get 50. So the extra amount here must be due to adding in Winifred's age. Good, I've got some correct answers that I'm seeing here for the sum of their ages. Well done. Okay, so Winifred must be 64 minus 50. The extra amount is due to her age. So Winifred is 14. Now, while we're on that, can you use the same logic to figure out how old Vishnu is? So use this equation and this one. Good, several of you got that Winifred was 14, well done. Okay, so Vishnu's age. Malusi and Winifred just add up to 31. If we add Vishnu on, then we get 64. So Vishnu's age must be the difference between 64 and 31, which is 33. So the question didn't ask for this, and I don't recommend in an exam doing extra work that the question didn't ask for, but we shall do it here for practice. And then someone has also told me how old Malusi is. Oh, fabulous, wants to be learning Vishnu's age. So Malusi would be 64, take away 47, so you are correct. Malusi is 17. Well done. Okay, let's do the next one. Same style. And if anyone is curious, by the way, I took inspiration from the St. Paul's Girl practice paper for these questions. So if you are doing that exam, then this should help, but you may see them in lots of other exams as well. Okay, if you are feeling confident with this, then why don't you go ahead, ignore me for a second, write down the equations, and see if you can repeat it. If not, I'm going to go through it on the board for anyone that's not too sure. So let's write our equations. I would like you to follow along and do this at home with me. So Cecilia plus Helen's age adds up to 50. Cecilia plus Chinwe, I need to abbreviate, but I've got two C's, so I'll put CH for Chinwe, equals 60. And then Helen plus Chinwe equals 48. Good, I'm seeing equations coming through for this one, fabulous. That's correct. Okay, hello, if you're just joining us. We've just been through one of these questions, an example, and then we're doing our second one. So I won't go through this quite as slowly as I did the first one, but hopefully you can keep up. So we have all of the equations there. Remember now, the easiest way to solve this is going to be to add up everything. So if we add this up, we get, have a think, we get 2C, we get 2H, and we get 2CH. And the sum of their ages is 158. Okay, so have a think. See if you can remember our next step. I'm going to write it on the board, but with my screen paused so that you can have a think without me spoiling it. Okay, so our next job, good, I've got some answers through, fabulous. Our next job is to divide that by 2. So now we know the 3 of their ages add up to 79. Great, Kieran, your answer is correct, well done, and Sharia as well. So we've got the 3 of their ages add up to 79, and we want Helen's age. So if we look at the equation that Helen's not in, we see that just the other 2 ages add up to 60. If we add on Helen, we get to 79. So Helen's age must be 79, take away 60, and Helen must be 19. Good, you're doing well. Let's do one more. I'm going to be really quick with this one. And I'm actually going to, how should I do this? I'll write the working on the board, but you might want to see if you can beat me to it. Okay, so B plus N is 12. Just write the equations to represent each sentence. D plus N is 9. D plus B is 17. Add those all together. Okay, so I have the answer for part A. And then a couple of you have said that the answer to part A is 38. Remember, you have to divide by 2 to get their ages all together. It's tricky. Okay, so we divide by 2, their ages add up to 19. And then Naomi, fabulous. I've got some correct answers coming in already. Well done. So Naomi, if we take this equation away from this one, we're left with Naomi's age, and she must be 2. Only 2 years old. Okay, well done. Right, we've only got half an hour today, and that's one question type. So let's move on to our second one very quickly. I have pictures for this. Okay, if you're interested, by the way, this inspiration for this question has come from the CSSE exam, one of their past papers. So 5 chocolate bars and 5 lollipops cost £3.35. A chocolate bar costs 41p more than a lollipop. How much more do 5 chocolate bars cost than 5 lollipops? Now, some of you will be able to work this out just on your own without the need for an example. If you can, then feel free to send me your answer. For some, this sounds a lot more confusing than it is. So let's look here. I've got 5 chocolate bars, 5 lollipops, just like in the question. Now, we've been told that each chocolate bar is worth 41p more than a lollipop, which means if you wanted to swap this chocolate bar for something, you'd have to give a lollipop plus 41p, like this. So this has the same value as the chocolate bar that was there before. So if I now replace all of them, good, I've got a correct answer from someone there for some of them. If I replace all of those chocolate bars and I leave the original lollipops as they were, you can see each one is worth 41p more. So all we have to do is 41 times 5 to figure out what all of that is. Okay, so think about replacing them. So that would be £2.05, 41 times 5. If you want to solve it algebraically, I'll just show you how to do that. So chocolate is the lollipop plus 41. You want to know how much more 5 chocolate bars cost. So 5 chocolate bars equal 5 lollipops plus 41. Oh, fabulous. A lot of you getting the right answer there. Well done. Okay, and 5L plus £2.05 is what we end up with there. Okay, good. Thank you. Some of you are giving some likes there. Fabulous. If you've learned something already, can you give me a like just so I know where we are? Okay, so 5 chocolate bars cost £2.05 more than 5 lollipops. Okay, the question gets a little more complicated. So, oh, fabulous. We're seeing some likes, which means you've learned something good. Hopefully you'll learn lots more. Okay, so 5 chocolate bars and 5 lollipops cost £3.35. A chocolate bar costs 41p more than a lollipop. How much does a chocolate bar cost? Now remember, we know that this adds up to £3.35, all of these. But we have also been able to replace those chocolate bars with this. So this all costs £3.35 as well, have the same value. So if all of this adds up to £2.05, then we know that 10 lollipops plus £2.05 equals £3.35. I'll let that sink in for a second. So 10 lollipops plus £2.05 equals £3.35, because I replaced all of the chocolate bars with their equivalent value here. Okay, so if I write that down, then I know that 10 lollipops plus £2.05 makes £3.35. Now let's solve that equation. So if you're not too used to solving equations, let's do it together. So remember, I get rid of what's furthest away from the x, or the L in this case, on this side. So this is further away. I'll get rid of that first before I deal with the 10. So let's do the opposite. The opposite of £2.05 is the opposite of adding it is minusing it. And I have to do the same thing to both sides. So then I get £1.30 on this side, and I have 10L on the left-hand side. Now I get rid of the 10 and I divide both sides by 10. So L equals 13 pence. Sorry, if you had the recording in progress, I was supposed to record ages ago. Okay. So L is 13 pence, sorry. I shouldn't have gone off that screen. L was 13 pence, and a chocolate bar costs 41p more than a lollipop. So lollipop is 13 pence. And then the chocolate bar will be 41p more. So the chocolate bar will be 54p. Good, lots of you getting that one for me. Well done. Okay, so what I did there was replace the chocolate bars with lollipops. The reason I had to do that was because you can't solve an equation when you have two unknowns. You can't not know the price of the chocolate and not know the price of the lollipop and be able to solve it. So we just had one unknown. I'm going to just show you. We'll do another question actually. And we'll substitute this time as well. So we'll use logic and we'll also do the completely algebraic method for you. Okay, so 6 pens and 3 pencils cost £6.21. A pen costs 45p more than a pencil. How much more do 3 pens cost than 3 pencils? Try and work that out for me. So how much more do 3 pens cost than 3 pencils? Each one costs 45p more. So what does that add up to when you have 3 pens? All right. You can write, if I'm going to do N for pens and L for pencils. So N equals a pencil plus 45p. So 3N equals 3 times that. So I'll put the 45 pence in pounds. It's a little clearer. So now 3N equals 3L plus £1.35, if memory serves me correctly. Yeah. Okay. So we've answered part A. How much do 2 pencils cost? So we're going to have to do the same method that we did before, but we're going to ignore part A this time, okay? So we'll have to go through the whole process again. So we were told we have 6 pens, 3 pencils, and they add up to £6.21. Good, seen some of your answers for the part A, well done. So that adds up to £6.21. Each pen costs the same as a pencil plus 45 pence. So I've replaced all of those. So now we have 6 pencils and 6 lots of 45, plus the 3 pencils that we had from earlier. Now let's write that down. I think I'll write it. Nope, I won't write that. Okay. So 6N plus 3L equals £6.21. What can I replace 6N with? So just copy what I've done here. I replace the 6 pens with 6 pencils plus 6 lots of 45p. 6 times 45, where have I got it written down? £2.70. So instead of 6N, I'm going to do 6 pencils plus £2.70. Okay. So my 2 bits in red have the same value. I'm just replacing it like I did in the images. And then the rest of the equation stays the same. So that's 3L equals £6.21. Now, just to remind you, we were trying to find the value of 2 pencils. Okay. So now I have this equation. I'm going to write it on the next screen so we've got some space. So 6L plus £2.70 plus 3L equals £6.21. Can anyone simplify that for me? So to simplify, I just want you to put the L's together. We have 6L and we have 3L. So how many L's do we have? Okay, so we will have 9L plus £2.70 equals £6.21. Okay, 9L plus £2.70 equals £6.21. Can you give me a like if you're still with me? If you're a little bit confused, don't worry. We'll come back and review what we're doing. Good, I'm seeing lots of simplifying there, well done. Okay, so 9L plus £2.70 equals £6.21. And I want to get rid of the £2.70. I have to do the same thing to both sides. That gives me £3.51. Cheated by writing my working out earlier. We have 9L. So 9L is £3.51. Now I want to get rid of the 9. So I'll divide both sides by 9. And you can do that. I'll give you a second just to do the division if you'd like to. You should get 39 pence. And then the question asks, we can't forget what the question asked us to do, which is how much do 2 pencils cost? So we have just found out that 1 pencil costs 39p. Well done, Vidali. 1 pencil costs 39p. 2 pencils, therefore, will be 78 pence. Okay, I'm actually just going to do that second part of the question again on one board, just for revision purposes. So I did 6n plus 6, oh, sorry, not 6l, plus 3l, 3 pencils, equals £6.21. Now I know that a pen costs 45p more than a pencil. If you wanted to, you could write that as n equals l plus 45. Now I know if 1 pen costs 45p more than a pencil, then 6 pens will cost 6 lots of 45 more. So you can write, if you're used to brackets with algebra, 6 brackets L plus 45. Actually, I'm going to write that in decimal form, just so I'm consistent. Okay, so 6L, 6 times brackets L plus 45 pence. We'll multiply out those brackets in a second. And then these two are the same thing. Okay, I've just replaced one with the other. Okay, now the rest of the equation stays the same. Well done, those of you getting 78p. If you didn't quite get that, don't worry, it's a tricky question. So we're going over it twice. Okay, so 6 lots of this plus 3L equals £6.21. So this is the way you can do it if you want to use substitution. If you want to think about the images and just replace it, then you can just write 6L and do 45p times 6 and write it in there. Either way, we end up with 6L plus 270 plus 3L equals £6.21, which is what I had here. So all of this equals £6.21. We take off the money. Take off the £2.70. We get 9L equals £3.51. And then I think you can solve it from there. Okay, let's try one more. It's already 2:30. Okay, well, looking at this one, it's a little different to the others because previously we were talking about this, someone has like it's 45p more. This one is £45 less, but don't let that put you off. So what we can write for that is a child's ticket theatre is £45 less than an adult. I would still I do it the other way around so that you have £45 more, because it's going to be easier to deal with pluses than it is minuses, isn't it? So that means if a child's ticket costs £45 less than an adult's ticket, then an adult's ticket costs £45 more than a child's ticket. That's what we found out so far. Okay, if you weren't too sure about the method for the last question, then what I would like you to do, just so that you get the chance to use some algebra, is to write an equation to represent this. Okay, so especially if you're going into year 5 and you haven't done much algebra yet, then just write an equation to represent that and then relax and watch. And don't worry about working out the rest yourself. Okay, so 10a plus 9c equals 754. Okay, 10 adults tickets plus 9 children's tickets equals £754. Now, remember I said we can't solve an equation if we have two unknowns. So we have to replace this with some c's, and then we'll be able to solve. So what can I replace 10A with? I want to write it in C form. So 10 adults tickets cost the same as what? You can tell me in chat if you want to. They cost the same as 10 child's tickets. That doesn't feel right to say, but I guess it is technically. 10 child's tickets plus how much money? Who can tell me in chat? 10 adult tickets cost the same as 10 child tickets plus remember, each adult's ticket is £45 more than the child's ticket. If you have 10 child tickets, then you'll have 10 lots of £45 more. Good. Sing that. Good. That's 450. Well done. Okay. So some of you are saying 45. That's correct for one ticket. But if you have 10 child tickets, remember on the previous screen, every time we replaced like a chocolate bar with something, we had to replace it with the lollipop and the money. So every time you replace the adult ticket, you have to replace it with the child's ticket plus some money 10 times. So C and 45, C and 45 every time, which will add up to £450. So 10 adult tickets cost the same as 10 child tickets plus £450. So this becomes NC plus 450 plus 9C equals 754. Okay, can you simplify for me, please? Someone sent me an answer there. Let me see if you are correct. Good. Someone sent me the adult price. Good, well done. Some quick maths. Okay, so 10C plus 450 plus 9C equals 754. We put the C's together because we're simplifying. We get 19C plus 450 equals 754. And then if you're not too comfortable with algebra, this is where I would like you to jump back in to solving for me. So we get rid of what's furthest away from the C, which is the 450. Get rid of that first. Good, seeing some brilliant equations there. Those are totally correct. Keep going to get our answer, and we've got some answers. Well done, guys, you are getting this. I'm really pleased. So next row, we will have 19C equals 304. Now, if you were in my class under normal circumstances, I would make you do the division on paper because it's good practice. But as we are running out of time today, I'm just going to tell you that if we divide both sides by 19, then we get the child's ticket is £16, and therefore the adult ticket will be £16 plus 45, which gives us 61. All right. That is all we have time for, sadly, today. But you know what? I had another question here. So what I'm going to do, a question that's the same type as the ones that we've just done. I actually had loads more questions, just in case, but we haven't had time. So I will post this question in chat for you to do. And if you could send me your answers, I'll stay watching chat for a little while longer, see if you can do this question using the same techniques that we've already used. And if you would like anything more from me, Can Learning, we have a YouTube channel with some math solutions on there and lots of vocab videos. I also produce the Wordia range of vocabulary resources. We have a free class that I will send you the link to in chat as well if you want an on-demand class, and we have a vocabulary course coming up later this summer. All right, guys, can you give me one last like if you have learned something, if you've enjoyed yourself? Maybe if you've enjoyed yourself, you can give me a heart. If you've learned something, you can give me a thumbs up, just so I know. Okay, good, I see some thumbs up. Okay, guys, thank you for having me. I'll see you all later. Bye, well done.